More TikTok conspiracy theories that will have you questioning everything. Just watch.
This celebrity tells an insane Hollywood story.
You were talking about the Illuminati trying to stick you for your Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
Was that that was really true?
So I can tell you what happened. So I went to Bella Thorne was having a little party, right? It wasn't my idea to go there. I was invited by some friends, and it was a Halloween party. I don't even celebrate Halloween, but just even the Bible says good company corrupts good character. But this is when I was not too. I just didn't know certain things I know now. Let me just say it like that. And so I was just hanging around some people, and they was going to the party, and there was so many signs. Like one of the signs was you gotta be happy to go. Another sign, you couldn't bring your phone, you had to sign an NDA. And I was like, I'm bringing my phone anyway. I was gonna sneak it in. I was signing my name, then they was like, oh yeah, you gotta prick your to get in. I was like, oh no, I'm straight. Everybody else, they went, and I was waiting on my Uber. And while I was waiting on my Uber, this girl passed out while she was about to go in the party.
After they suck her?
By the way, this video is scripted and for entertainment purposes only. Stay weird.
This video was not scripted, and I don't know about the entertainment purposes only. Maybe. I don't think he can say that because he took this little snippet from a podcast. And Whoa Vicky, the girl in the video that we were just listening to, who I have randomly come across several times in my life at different places around the country, just randomly, like, there go Whoa Vicky, like, whatever. Anyway, but besides that, even though her social media depicts her as being somebody who's off her rockers and doesn't do things that make a lot of sense, when she is calm and settled down and having the conversation, you can have an intellectual conversation with this woman. She sounds coherent. She sounds like she knew what she was talking about. She also sounds like she wasn't dumb. As you can see, she wasn't dumb enough to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and join in on this party where they're asking me to come in half naked and to prick my finger because they want to draw some blood from me. What? She was like, nah, I'm good. I'm about to catch this Uber home. I am not that desperate to be in the in crowd with all these weirdos.
This MIT scientist is going to explain the existence of God, and it is incredible.
All right, let's hear this.
Watch it.
Background from MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, bachelor's, master's, PhD, 7 years in the physics staff, seen a whole range of atomic bombs detonated, moved to Israel, met my wife, Barbara Sofer, a great writer. And one of the questions that I'm asked as a scientist is, how can a scientist really believe that there's something what we refer to usually as God? You know, is this metaphysical whatever acting in the world or producing the world? And the irony is, the question's really a non-starter. Science has in fact discovered God, and you can talk to the hardline atheists and they will say, it looks like science has indeed discovered God. And how would that be? Well, if you take the trouble of going to the web and they're typing WMAP, the initials for a satellite, it's a diagram that shows the development of the universe from the creation over time. It's a timeline. Every word on that diagram comes from the NASA site. It is the condensed knowledge of the scientific community of how the universe created and how it got to where we are today. Each of the lines, the vertical lines, is another billion years. Okay, you start from a burst of energy at the extreme left side of the diagram, and you end up at the far end with the oval. The oval is to indicate expansion in all directions. Of course, because it's a timeline, we can't show that on a single piece of paper. We see here, most amazingly, that on the extreme left edge, it shows a beginning to the universe. Now, go back less than 50 years. If I were teaching that at Tech, a person could lose tenure saying that there was a creation of the universe. It sounds like it's Bible. Because less than 50 years ago, the overwhelming scientific opinion was the universe is eternal. There was never a beginning. The Bible is wrong from the very first sentence. And then we discovered, suddenly, Artofkickz and Robert Wilson, Bell Labs in New Jersey, the northeast of the U.S., discovered the echo of the Big Bang, the energy left over, which George Gamow, 60 years ago, predicted that if there had been a universe created hot and small, it would have exploded, and the energy would get more and more dilute. And Penzias and Wilson, these Arnold Penzias and Robert Wilson, discover this energy that had been predicted overnight. The Bible got it right. There was a beginning to the universe. Now, the black in the diagram is nothing. It's not a vacuum. Vacuums are within that diagram, within that cone of expansion. Vacuums are empty space, and space is something. The black of the paper around the diagram is nothing. It doesn't fit in our human brain because humans think in a box made of time, space, and matter/energy. No human, as clever as they might be, as expansive as they might be, thinks out of that box. How are we going to have this idea, is there a God or not? Notice, that the creation force isn't a three-letter word, G-O-D. If you look at the words carefully, it's a quantum fluctuations. That understanding was first brought down by Ed Tryon, brilliant human being, in the journal Nature almost 40 years ago. The universe allows creation of something from nothing, provided you have the laws of nature.
He said the universe allows creation something from nothing. Well, then wouldn't that disprove the theory that God is real? Hold on, let me continue to listen.
Of something from nothing, provided you have the laws of nature, the quantum fluctuation. Tryon realized, and he published in the journal Nature, one of the two leading peer-reviewed journals in the world.
Well, hold on. He said that first you have to have the laws of nature in order to create something from nothing. All right, okay. So that means God would have had to create the law of nature first.
Journals in the world, that you can create something from absolute nothing, provided you've got the laws of nature, quantum physics and the laws of relativity. In other words, the laws of nature. So look what science has discovered. We can create the universe from absolute nothing, provided we have the forces of nature. Now, the laws of nature, the forces of nature aren't physical, they act on the physical. So if they create the universe, that means they predate the universe. So now we have a set of forces, we call them the laws of nature, that are not physical, that are able to act on the physical. They create the physical from absolute nothing. And they predate the universe, which means they predate our understanding of time. Put that together, it sounds very familiar. If you haven't noticed it, that's the biblical definition of God.
God, yeah. What? All right, atheists, come on now. There go your science. What you gonna do? What you gonna do now? Y'all still gonna say, oh, we don't believe in God? Well, your science that you do believe in proved that God exists. I don't know this guy. Who is this guy? He told you who he was in the beginning of this video. Told you all his accolades. Look him up. Look him up. Do your research. Oh, man. The atheists are big on the research, man. Do the research. They're going to be mad at me for this one. Think I care? On to the next clip.
So this is a U.S. document from 1947 that was declassified by the FBI, and it's wild. But this memorandum acknowledges the existence of alien presence. Quote, very serious situation may develop at any time with regard to the, quote, flying saucers. If one of these should be attacked, the attacking plane will almost certainly be destroyed. He lists like 9 bullet points summarizing what he has observed from these flying saucers. Number 1, part of the disc carries crews, others are under remote control. Their mission is peaceful. The visitors contemplate settling on this plane.
Not welcome, but glad you're peaceful.
These visitors are human-like, but much larger in size. So we're making connections. Giants? Talking about fallen angels. They do not embody Earth people, but come from their own world. They do not come from any planet, as we use this word, but from a etheric planet which penetrates our own and is not perceptible to us.
Yo, I never heard that before. That the aliens could be coming from not another planet, but a Ethereum. What do you say? What was that word? Ethereum? Ethereum planet that penetrates our own world, but not necessarily separate from ours, or is separate from ours. What? I've never heard of anything like this. Gosh, and I watched The Flash on TV, and they don't even be talking about this, I don't think.
It is not perceptible to us.
So it's with us, but we can't see it.
Correct.
Dimension.
That's fascinating. Think about it. That would explain why we have this idea that there's no possible way that aliens or extraterrestrials of any sort could be coming to us from a neighboring planet that inhabits life. Think about it. Everything that we know about space travel tells us that there's no humanly possible way that anything can travel through space. Obviously, extraterrestrials aren't human in nature in the sense that we are, but still, nothing that we would think would have a physical body, anything similar to ours, could possibly travel through space at the speed that these things would have to travel in order to get to us. So this theory would make so much more sense in regards to how it is that these aliens are able to get to us with no problem, because they're basically an extension of us already. Now I feel less alone in the universe, because I'm pretty sure I belong to them, and they left me here. I don't know why they left me here with all these crazy folks on this planet, but I need them to come get me, because I'm ready to go home. Seriously. come get me right now. Like, you can take me from this spot and take me with you. ET, phone home. I'm phoning home.
When the dark web reveals the truth, this video was posted anonymously on the dark web with this title.
Okay.
It shows real images of giants from ancient times.
Pause. These pictures look real. I ain't even gonna hold you. These pictures look real, but you know how AI can be nowadays. Golly, these pictures look real. How come he got a shadow, but this guy don't? Alright, his face look a little wonky, man. This is what giants were supposed to look like. They look ape-like, almost like Bigfoot.
Legends from ancient times.
Wait a minute. This thing look like a freaking tree.
Accompanied by a message. Here's the truth about giants. In ancient times, colossal creatures reigned as absolute masters.
Is this supposed to be... what? He gotta be wearing something. Because his head look normal, like a normal white dude, but everything else is like fur on his body or something. I don't... Is that supposed to be his feet? Look, I'm so confused right now. But one thing I hate about these dang on TikTok videos sometimes is they will have freaking double background music going. This thing got both fast beat and slow beat background music playing. It ain't me, y'all, I promise.
Casting a shadow of terror over the land. These titanic giants were the living embodiment of fear and dread. Their footsteps...
They were the living embodiment of fear and dread. Then why are these people over here taking pictures with them so calmly? These pictures, man. Why are we just now getting pictures like this? They had us thinking that these dang on giants died out before cameras were even invented. How are we getting these pictures all of a sudden? And how come there are so many of them, and how come they're so good? The nature of AI today, can't trust it.
Sounded like cataclysmic thunder, causing the earth itself to tremble with every step. Their massive bodies, bristling with huge muscles, seemed sculpted from the darkest nightmares. Their eyes, gleaming with an unearthly glow, stared out at the world with an unhealthy gleam. Their shrill roars tore through the air, sending shivers through the hearts of the bravest. These ancient giants moved with deliberate slowness, as if aware of their own overwhelming superiority.
Nah, look at my man's face down here. Tell me that face don't look real in the sense. It looked like AI tried to make a real picture and messed up. I don't know, y'all. Do y'all believe these pictures? Like, who had these pictures hidden from us for so long, and now they're like, ooh, TikTok. I'm gonna use TikTok to expose the truth, dark web style.
The landscapes they traversed were marked by their passage, with uprooted trees and shaken mountains bearing witness to their devastating power.
Like, if this is a freaking giant, how is it even living? You can see through its bones, man. There's no way. They ain't say a dang thing about them giants being fallen angels.
You know what the darkest conspiracy theory about aliens is?
I don't know if I'm ready for it.
That Earth is essentially a farm, and human beings are the vessels that contain souls, and they want us because this is how they create souls.
What? Earth is a farm. I was thinking that he was going to go in a different direction when he mentioned the part about us humans having souls, which is that these extraterrestrials or beings of some sort don't have souls, so they're harvesting us humans on Earth so that they can collect our souls. But no, that's not it. He's basically saying that no, this is how they create souls. But what are they doing with the souls that they're creating?
And so they're farming us. They've created us. Mm-hmm. So we started off as primates, and through some sort of genetic intervention, I'm not saying I believe this. I'm just saying that this is like top of the food chain, put your tinfoil hat on super tight. That they farm us. Mm-hmm. And that the whole reason why human beings are involved in this conflict, constant conflict, it's all of it is to increase our competition with each other, increase our ability to control resources, which will increase our technology, which will ultimately lead to us creating this being that we're going to create, this artificially intelligent super god.
Interesting theory, but obviously one that don't make a whole lot of sense, because as long as we've been around, the way we have developed our technical advances throughout our different societies scattered across this planet, America, Russia, China, whoever, why is it that if this was the plan, how come things didn't unfold a lot sooner than they did, or a lot sooner than they have been? How come we aren't already these robots or these androids? Good theory though.
There's a conspiracy theory about your feet. Supposedly this is what our feet are supposed to look like.
Nah, my feet ain't supposed to look like that. My feet don't supposed to look like this. This is crazy. I don't think they can get them feet in shoes.
Supposedly this is what our feet are supposed to look like if we stayed connected to Earth. And this is what they look like now that we wear shoes, right? Some people believe that
yeah, nah, some folks' foot do shape like a daggone shoe. That always be tripping me out when I see people feet shaped like shoes. I feel like mine is closer to this. Not 100%, but definitely ain't like this at all.
shoes are actually damaging our feet, making them more narrower and pushing our toes more together. They believe that this messes up our electrical receptors that connect us to the earth, and that society and our government have been forcing us to wear shoes everywhere, you know, no shoes, no service, to disconnect us from planet Earth.
Interesting. Which is why every chance that I can get, when the weather permits, I'll try to go outside and walk around barefooted to ground myself. It's a lovely thing. I highly recommend it. But if you're like me and your feet sensitive, ground hurts. You gotta find a good place to walk it out though.
Putting rubber between our feet and the ground. Supposedly this is keeping us sick and stops us from receiving the benefits of Mother Earth. And apparently they call it the heel of your foot because once it touches land, it heals you and stops inflammation. And there are some studies that actually support this. There's this thing called grounding, and some believe these are the benefits to our bodies from grounding. Is it weird that we run in a society that makes us wear shoes that cover up our feet to protect them? Or are people just reaching and shoes are actually protected? What do you think? One big conspiracy? Or do you think there's some truth to it? Are we humans really that connected to planet Earth? And make sure to hit that button because my next story will blow your mind.
I'm curious to hear what are y'all thoughts. Do y'all feel like it would be in your best favor to go outside every now and then barefooted and walk around on some good ground? Because, you know, certain places you don't want to walk. You know, ain't no telling what's in the grass, in the gravel, on the concrete. Look, you just gotta find a nice smooth place where you can walk around.
The firmament conspiracy. What is the firmament? There was a huge debate between Christians who believe that the earth is flat and those who believe it's a globe. In Genesis 1:7, it states that God made the firmament and divided the waters above from the waters below. Now some people take this literally, that see earth as a flat surface that is enclosed by a physical barrier, and that there's water on the outside of the firmament, which explains why the skies are blue. But others take this in a metaphorical sense.
Ah, now I understand.
And claim that the firmament is nothing more than our atmosphere, and that there is no physical barrier up top. Therefore, the earth is a globe. And the reason there's been so much debate over this is that...
Serious question, and I'm going to be looking in the chat. What do y'all believe? Do y'all believe that the earth is round, or do you believe it's flat? Comment down below. I want to hear from you. And don't comment anonymous either. You think you're slick. Use your regular account. Don't log out of this account to go to your anonymous account, then pull me up on YouTube, find this video to comment. No, don't do all that. Too much work. Show yourselves.
Is that people believe that we haven't been to space. And have you guys ever heard of Operation Fishbowl? Well, in 1962, the U.S. government performed what is called Project Fishbowl, where they detonated nuclear explosions into the sky. But they claimed it was to see how the nuclear explosions reacted to our atmosphere.
But people feel like because y'all call it Project Fishbowl, what y'all really trying to say is the fishbowl, that firmament, that bowl, that dome that we're in, y'all was trying to break through that mofo. That's what y'all really saying by calling it Project, what was it, Goldfish?
Many believe it was the government actually trying to break the firmament. They were trying to see if they could break this invisible barrier. But what...
Fishbowl, I knew that.
What are your thoughts though? Is the firmament a metaphorical or physical barrier? And do you think the earth is flat or a globe? Make sure you hit that button because my next conspiracy is crazy.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it right here, right now. I believe in the firmament. In the metaphorical sense, obviously. The earth is round. That's my beliefs. I could be wrong.
This is a conspiracy theory I 100% believe in. So, in 2020, the reason the government put us into a lockdown is so they could change the batteries in the pigeons.
Yo, this man said that this is a conspiracy theory that he 100% believes in. When they put us on that convent that were on the lockdown, he says the reason they put us on lockdown was because they had to change the batteries in the pigeons. Yo, the fact that he said this with a smile on his face, he made his buddy smirk.
Right. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon? Because they're all cameras.
Because they're all cameras.
Weirdest part is my dad has like pigeons as well, and even I've never seen a baby pigeon.
Where do they go?
There's like a van driving around collecting them all.
Yeah, to make sure they don't get too wet.
Exactly.
Bruh. Hey, he said the wrong thing. He said what's crazy is my dad has a collection of pigeons and I've never seen a baby pigeon. I thought he was going to say, I've asked my dad if he's ever seen a baby pigeon. That would have been better to say. You should have asked your pops, had he ever seen a baby pigeon? He probably would have told you, yes, boy, I've seen plenty of baby pigeons. Yo, I need... Who is it? Is it Floyd No, it's Tyson. Tyson be collecting pigeons too. I need to ask him if he ever seen a baby pigeon. I said that as if I have connections to Tyson. Yo, Mike, if you watching, I got a question for you.
There's a theory. Did you know Barney was actually based on like a child?
Low-key, fam, I had a feeling.
Check this out. Now
he said he had a feeling. Boy, yo, he ain't had no feeling, but... No, seriously, that's messed up. I'll never look at Barney the same.
Check this out. Now, this picture came out long time ago. This was way before Barney, feel me?
Yeah.
There's a picture of this.
Ew, man, that's crazy.
Whoa, that's a horrible looking Barney. Y'all see this fool down here? What was this purple dinosaur name? I would be terrified of this purple dinosaur. That ain't Barney that I know.
Listen, so it's a guy dressed in a Barney costume before Barney.
Yeah.
So it was just a dinosaur costume. Look at the face. Feel me? That's a guy dressed up in a dinosaur costume that would go to parks, playgrounds, and just like play with kids in this costume.
In the costume?
Yeah.
I'm not playing with him.
What the fuck? So somewhere along the line in the future, somebody made a show inspired by this person that used to just show up, play with kids.
Yeah.
And the theory is that this whole time he was actually like a child fam. Like he got off of like playing with kids.
Oh, no.
And he's just wearing this big like costume.
Yeah. Yo, we have to find like if there's any like hints of that.
In the Barney episodes, I know that's where you're going with that. Because I was thinking the same thing. Told you, never look at Barney the same now after this. My kids can't even watch Barney. I don't even got none. Dang. Do y'all believe that theory? I slick want to believe it because who the heck will have a horrible looking Barney costume like that unless you didn't have an example to go off of? They didn't have an example of what Barney was supposed to look like because they created Barney, right? To create those freaking costumes. But the actual TV show Barney had an example to go off of. You saw the freaking teeth on that thing? You see how Barney had those staple big pearly white teeth. They got their example from this guy here. I'm sorry, but this thing is funny looking. Man, if I was a kid, I'm like, bro, you gotta get away from me. I can't take you serious. I'm serious. I was that kind of kid. I'm like, Mom, come get this weirdo. Get this weirdo away from me.
Scariest conspiracy theories in the world that will seriously change your life. So this right here shows all the conspiracy theories from the most well-known ones that we all know to the darkest of the dark. This series we're going to be going from the most well-known ones to the darkest of the dark, which will probably keep you up all night. Having to do the research into all of these is probably going to disturb the hell out of me, but you know, I'm doing it for you guys, so make sure you hit that follow button. Part 1, let's go. Today we're going to be talking about Area 51, but not how you think. Trust me, this is wild. This guy right here is Bob Lazar. Now, he used to work at Area 51. Now, Area 51 is, of course, one of the biggest conspiracy theories out there. What is it? Why can't we go near there? Is it just a military base? Bob claims he used to work there, reverse engineering alien craft. Now this right here is his actual drawing of an alien craft.
Bob Lazar used to reverse engineer alien crafts. I remember hearing the story about a guy who worked in the military, told to me by a friend of his, right? And the guy, I think he worked at Area 51, and the dude, you know, after, you know, his time in the military, he was messed up. He had real bad PTSD, and he always thought that people were coming after him because of what he knew. And he would every now and then will disclose some information about some things that he knew back then. And he would talk about, and this was told to me almost 20 years ago, but he would talk about how they were reverse engineering these spacecrafts that they had got a hold of, rather they crash landed or whatnot, but they would reverse engineer them. And a lot of the technology that we use today, touch screens, phone, this is something that they got from these spacecrafts that they reverse engineered. So like, it would have took so much longer for us to have these skinny little touch screen devices at our disposal that got no front facing buttons that I can literally control this entire phone with. This picture that was created on my screen right here, that was using AI. But anyway, he said that it would have took 20-30 years longer, as in we still wouldn't have this tech today through our own technical advances. Because they reverse engineered these spacecrafts, do we have this technology today? Crazy.
Yeah, crazy, right? This is where it gets mental, absolutely mental. I think Area 51 is this place, right? According to Bob, this is not where all the crazy stuff happened. It's actually down the road here, in a place called Area S4. Area S4 is located up in the mountains, completely top secret, and nobody knows really what it is until Bob came out about it. Bob claims he would be taken to Area S4, which is an underground facility where he would work on the alien craft. Put the coordinates into Google and look at this place, it's just crazy. The road which leads straight up to it, the road ends right there, and then there's just like holes in the ground. So there is definitely something there. What I'm saying is all from Bob. There is literally a documentary about this. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix, you may have seen it. Let me know what you think, because this is crazy. The series is about to get a whole lot crazier, so make sure you hit that follow button. I'll see you in the next one.
In our own galaxy alone, which has 100 billion star systems, the same number of stars that we have as we have neurons in our brain, interestingly, that we're dealing with civilizations just in our own galaxy, which is one of billions, that are able to go through interstellar space. Now, I want to touch on this for a moment because it deals with a little bit that Linda referred to in terms of trans-dimensional or other dimensions. And the technologies and the sciences dealing with this subject are what we have termed trans-dimensional interstellar, TDIS. And this refers to very advanced sciences and technologies where there is a nexus between electromagnetism in the magnetic field, gravitational forces in three-dimensional space and time, and what Dr. John at Princeton in the engineering lab began to prove is the science of consciousness, which was actually an issue that I did talk a fair amount with Lawrence Rockefeller about. Now, a lot of people say, well, this gets into the deep end of the pool very quickly, and in fact it does. But I think that it's important to understand that if you're dealing with civilizations that have gotten here, and that's what we're dealing with, you're not dealing with something that can go just straight through space at the speed of light even, because the speed of light is too slow. And I remember when I was having dinner with CIA Director Woolsey and his wife, and actually the really most insightful question came from Dr. Woolsey, who at the time was Chief Operating Officer of the National Academy of Sciences. And she said, what I want to know is, how are these civilizations communicating across the vastness of space? Because your cell phone and radio waves are going at the speed of light. And I said, yes, that's just too slow. Speed of light is way too slow. And I had I had a gut check. I said, do I tell her the truth and lose all credibility as a scientist?
Ooh, I ain't seen this one. This is good. Kind of like how we had that UFO hearing press conference earlier this year. This is that essentially, but a few years back, about 10 years back to be exact. And this is where Dr. Stephen Greer is doing the same thing, but disclosing some information. This is fascinating. I've never seen this before. And he's saying everything as if it's just a matter of fact, and everybody is listening to him, not to discredit him, but to consume the information also as if it's all just a matter of fact. Now, he says that he's about to say something that's going to probably make him sound a little loony, because a woman asked him, how are these beings communicating throughout space? And he's saying that, hey, speed of light, speed of sound is simply too slow.
And a doctor. Or do I tell her something that sounds scientific, but that's really not true? And ever since then, I have vowed that if someone is intelligent enough to ask the question, I will provide the answer as truthfully as I can. So I turned to her and I said, well, Dr. Woolsey, it's like this. It turns out thinking is the best way to travel. And the speed of thought is not quantifiable. However, when you start getting into the new physics that have been done, where you have the ability to teleport across vast distances instantly, and this has been done with particles, but we're talking about civilizations that can do it with entire spacecraft and occupants. You're dealing with an entirely new physics. But their communication devices and their own innate abilities allow for thought-actuated events. And I know Dr. Wood may mention this, that he discovered when he was doing some work for old man McDonald of McDonnell Douglas, that he looked into some cases where in some meetings with these ETs involved a little box, and there was a direct thought communication, but it was also being facilitated through electronics.
Oh my God. This pieces together. Remember that clip that I showed you guys of the alien that was almost being interrogated and he was starting to have some respiratory issues? Y'all remember that clip? What did they say about that clip in regards to how that alien was communicating with them? Through thought. Mind you, that's an old clip. It's a really old clip. It might have been from what, the 70s, I think it was, maybe. Y'all, look, when the information starts to piece itself together here, there's some things that this man have said that makes us believe what he's saying is true. But in recent times, there's some things that he said that discredits him quite a great deal. But nonetheless, this is fascinating.
And this is something that we call technology-assisted consciousness and thought. And this is a very specific area of study that I've really devoted about 22 years to, which may be beyond the scope of this hearing. But I think that in terms of just bringing this issue around, there are so many aspects of it that are very exciting from the point of view of science, technology, and understanding the universe and ourselves. And also, who are we? And where did we come from? And how is it that we exist in this cosmos that is and I agree with Edgar Mitchell on this, that is a conscious quantum hologram that is awake and that we are all part of. And that mind itself is the ultimate final frontier, not space, but consciousness and mind.
I like that. I like that a lot. But people can also look at that and think, you know what? He's trying to deflect. You know, he's trying to get people to look more within and stop reaching for the stars, because they may find something that they might not want to hear or see. It's like, but explore the mind, because there's already so little that we know about the human mind. Why not just keep on that subject than to try to take matters to outer space, where things are far more vast than we can ever imagine?
Check this video out with me. This guy's going to explain that fossils are not millions of years old. Let's watch it.
If you grew up like I did, taught in a state-run school system, you probably have a ready answer: millions of years. I grew up learning the typical evolutionary story party line regarding rocks and fossils, that slow fossilization ideas were true, and that fossils were millions of years old. I read books with detailed and colorful diagrams showing that fossils formed mostly when animals and or plants died in watery environments. I typically use the canned example I'd seen and heard so often: a fish. According to the typical series of pictures I'd seen depicted in a wide assortment of books, A fish would die, sink to the bottom of a lake, and get slowly covered in layers of silt and mud. As millions of years would pass, the sediment got compressed as new layers gathered. The mud would turn into rock, the fish would become permineralized, and voila, it became a fossil. If I'd just taken a few seconds to think about it, I would have easily realized that what my own eyes observed is that dead fish tend to float and bloat. And the ones that were at the bottom were chewed up by crabs and little nippers quite quickly. Yeah. And even the bones didn't last all that long.
Dang, you know what? 100% facts. When you think about that, if you take the idea of a fish turning into a fossil out of the equation, you would think about the fact that, all right, fish die, they float. The ones that fall to the bottom, they're going to get eaten up by the bottom dwellers. Heck, I've had fish tanks before. I've seen exactly that happen. Some of them will die, some of them will float, some of them will sink. Regardless, they will get eaten up by even the other goldfish to the point where there's hardly any bones left in there. I know this to be true. You guys know this to be true. But these fossils that we see of fish, and it's the whole entire fish, how did that happen? Let's keep watching.
Realize now that I've been taught what to think, not how to think. Most people, even Christians, still believe that it takes millions of years for rocks to form and a living organism to become a fossil. I realize now that a major reason I never doubted these ideas is that I'd never been shown an alternative for how fossils could have formed. I never heard one person in my earlier years ever mention that a giant catastrophe, especially the Great Deluge recorded in the Bible, could have buried creatures rapidly and completely and formed fossils very quickly. I realize that evolutionary researchers can't explain many things according to that long age paradigm, which is likely why they've more recently begun to embrace and incorporate catastrophic explanations into their evolutionary system. Like why they've found fossilized animals in the middle of very specific short-term activities and actions, like eating or giving birth. For example,
oh wow, yeah. Look, I've never seen fossils like this before. Man, this is such a great informative video explaining how you find fossils of animals in the middle of eating and giving birth. Look at this. This creature, this whale, maybe is giving birth. How does this thing become a fossil, both of them, in the middle of this? It had to be some sort of catastrophic event that occurred that put these animals all in a state to be fossilized so rapidly. And most people will think, duh, Artofkickz, use your brain. They're talking about when the freaking meteorite hit the earth and the earth, they going engulfed in flames or froze over, whatever the case might have been. Duh, that was the catastrophic event, but could there have been others?
For example, at the Creation Museum in the United States, we have a fossil fish displayed that was swallowing another fish while they were buried. Another is the fossil of a horseshoe crab with its tracks visible in the sediment it was traveling along. This indicates that not only was it buried at lightning speed according to the common geological perspective, but that the right chemical conditions in the sediment for rapid fossilization to protect the specimen and its tracks must have been present, eliminating the need for any kind of deep time process to account for the fossilization process. And even more rapidly decaying soft-bodied animals like jellyfish have been found in Australia, Canada, Germany, the United States, and other countries. And this presents an incredible conundrum for evolutionary scientists, because jellyfish decay so rapidly they typically leave no trace whatsoever after a very short time. Now,
wow, so for there to be fossils of jellyfish, meaning that fossilization process had to happen in rapid succession. This is so fascinating to me.
Fossils are typically embedded in rock, which means if the fossilization of an organism occurred rapidly, then the rock they are trapped in must have formed quickly as well. Most of us have been told that it takes millions of years for large portions of strata we see around the world to have formed. How would that explanation fit with the clock in the rock found in Washington, USA in 1975? So we know that rocks can form rapidly under the right conditions. When you realize this was a real event, you can understand that the flood would have swept away plants and animals, creating huge amounts of biomass and burying them in waterborne sediments. This would mean many were buried en masse, which would have created huge fossil graveyards, of which we find many around the world. The Messel Pit in Germany, fossils of birds, amphibians, reptiles, insects, fish, and mammals are found in the same place. Not only that, are so well preserved, they show color, fur, and food in their stomachs. Fossils have been made in a laboratory in 24 hours, mimicking naturally occurring fossils to a T. This news was published in...
Wait, he said fossils have been made in a laboratory, mimicking naturally made fossils to a T. To a T. In 24 hours, these fossils were made. All right, tell me more. Tell me more.
A secular article from the University of Bristol called Creating Synthetic Fossils in the Lab sheds light on fossilization processes, which mentions that the experimental samples, or what they refer to as synthetic fossils, are compared to real fossils, supposedly thousands or millions of years old, and they were basically identical. No.
What? The fossils were identical? The synthetically made lab fossils were identical to the fossils that were created over the expansion of a million plus or millions of years. But were they? That will also lead us to believe that maybe it wasn't millions of years ago when the dinosaurs were around. Maybe it could have been a few 100,000.
Not just visually, but also microscopically, as revealed.
I mean, heck, they did say that there was an island somewhere in China or Japan or something where it was uninhabited by humans, and someone went there and discovered that there were indeed some freaking dinosaurs there, living dinosaurs there right now. I don't know how real it is. I would love to see some footage from that, but maybe it hadn't been that long since dinosaurs actually roamed and inhabited the earth. Fascinating.
Not just visually, but also microscopically, as revealed using a scanning electron microscope.
Microscopically, these fossils are identical. The lab grown and the natural grown one. What?
Scientists even found that just as in the naturally occurring fossils, the 24-hour fossils contain preserved microscopic pigment-bearing structures called melanosomes that reside within the organic films in feathers and lizards treated, while unstable protein and fatty tissues degrade and are lost. This experiment, accomplished using a hydraulic press, shows that under the right conditions, fossils can form very rapidly.
That's crazy.
Theories that were proven real. China dinosaur theory. According to this theory, China found an island that is full with dinosaurs. A woman that was for vacation in China reportedly saw it on the news itself. They said that it was an expedition of 15 people to an uncharted island, and there were found multiple new dinosaur species.
Oh, that was too short. That was too short. Come on. We need proof. When we gonna see the videos, China? Y'all hiding this from us, man. I know y'all are, because y'all don't want America to come over there and be like, hey, what y'all got? Where the island at?
Creepy Conspiracy Theories, Part 2. Sophia, the first robot citizen in the world, once said that she would destroy humans. During a live demonstration, Sophia's creator asked her, "Do you want to destroy humans? Please say no." And with a blank expression, Sophia responded, "Okay, I will destroy humans." First of all, whoever created her should be in jail after hearing that. And second, throw the whole robot away. Get rid of it. I guess the theory here is that robots might try and take over the world. 14 years before the Titanic sank, a man named Morgan Robertson wrote a novel about a ship named Titan. This ship also sank in the North Atlantic Ocean in the same month as the Titanic. The ship in the story also struck an iceberg located at the same distance from Newfoundland. Did this author predict the sinking of the Titanic? There is no way that's just a coincidence. And lastly, this is more of a fact than a theory. The world's scariest haunted house is so scary that all guests are required to have a mental and physical evaluation before they can enter. No one has ever completed the haunted house, and today has a waiting list of over 24,000 people. I've heard about this and even read parts of the waiver. There is a literal part in this haunted house where a dentist comes in and can rip your teeth out. Who the hell is signing up for this?
It's not a haunted house. What it is a come get tortured house. That's really what it is. And one of my viewers had the audacity to say, hey, let's go here. No, we ain't going here. Because this ain't a haunted house. There's actual people in there that are doing messed up things to you. How they got a wait list of that many? That's that many crazy people in this world. 24-something thousand crazy folks that want to go and be tortured. to the point where you come out of there with PTSD. Stupid. Yeah, because a lot of these people that come out of this, they be messed up after.
The darkest conspiracy theories. The Titanic theory. The theory says that the Titanic never hit an iceberg. The owner of the Titanic, J.P. Morgan, had two ships, the Olympic and the Titanic. And he knew that the Olympic was old and rusty, so he switched the names and the color of the two ships. The theory argues that he wanted to sink the ship because he'd make a lot of money of it. But the theory doesn't stop there. Because do you know who was in the ship? All of J.P. Morgan's business competitors, and none of them survived the trip. But Morgan himself canceled the voyage a few minutes before the journey began.
Shady. J.P. Morgan was like, I'm about to collect all their money.
Why do you think Snapchat exists? Why do you think they would make a company for 13-year-olds where a photo disappears after 24 hours? Why do you think kids would want to use that? You know, I've been to Silicon Valley. There are buildings full of 300 people who are all employed to give children what they want, not what they need, the base interests of children's wants. Because before, you wanted to get to a kid, you had to appeal to their parents, because their parents would turn the television off. So if you wanted to make a program for a kid, it had to appeal to their parents, because their parents were in control of the media they consumed. The kids have direct access to it now, so it doesn't matter. And there's an entire dialogue happening between these tech companies and kids that parents are completely unaware of.
Here's a conspiracy theory for you that became conspiracy fact. In the 1920s, Edward Bernays and Paul Mazur set out on an experiment to turn Americans into mindless, insatiable consumers. I do not like where this one is going. They had an idea to train Americans to desire to ever consume more and more goods and services with no real reasoning behind the desire to purchase new things. The idea was that this would result in turning every single American into profit-consuming, but also product-producing zombies, slaves to the system, if you will, and that this would eventually empower the ruling elite. We must shift America from a needs to a desire culture, said Paul Mazur. People must be trained to desire, to want new things, even before the old have been entirely consumed. We must shape a new mentality, and man's desires must overshadow his needs. That's a direct quote from one of the craziest people I've ever read about.
A man's desires must overshadow his needs. Whew. They mind control us and then make money off of us, while at the same time using us to produce a lot of the products that they're selling back to us. Products and services. They're using us and making money off of us at the same time, while keeping our minds enslaved. I ain't gonna lie, I've been a consumer these past couple of years. Boy, I didn't used to be. But I am now. But I'm gonna do better. 2024 ain't gonna be me, because I plan on hightailing it out of America and moving to a different country and living a more simple life. By 2025, y'all will see me somewhere else. I promise you that. I'm already working on it, slowly but surely. I will keep y'all posted.
Because if you just look around the United States, it's pretty clear that that plan completely worked. And if you found that story crazy, check out what we've got over on Rockfin.
You think that story is crazy? We're about to check out what they did to rats and what they learned from the rats' behavior that they implemented on the black community. But before we do, I want to put y'all onto this book. This is one of my favorite books. I have read it from cover to cover. I want to read it again. It's called Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. I have told y'all about this book several times before. It has been linked down in the description of every single one of my videos for the last 3 or 4 years. It's been linked down there. Highly recommend y'all checking it out. This right here outlines how they can control our minds and do it so effortlessly, so easy that we don't even notice that they're doing it. Read this book. It will change your mind. I know I said I've been a consumer. Look, let me live a little bit. I know what I'm doing. I'm completely aware of my consumerismness.
Gave them this abundant environment, right? They put these rats in there. Mind you, these the same rats with the same genetical molecular structure, with nothing different. They both came from the same mama, the same daddy, the same family tree, right? So they took these rats, they put one in a good environment, then they put the other 100 rats in a bad environment where they didn't get water. If they did get water, the water actually had acids in it. They made sure they didn't give them the regular food. I think they gave them like cat food or something like that with a bunch of pellets that was inside of them, right? They stuck them on top of each other. And they made sure that the space was very, very small. They never cleaned any poop out of the maze. They pissed out of the maze, and they left them in there. They left them in there for 4 months, and they watched how their behavior changed. They went back and they got the actual rats that came from the good environment, and they put them in the maze. They ended up going through the maze very, very fast. Then they ended up going to get the rats that they put in the bad environment and put them in the maze, and they didn't know how to even make it through the first section of the maze. So he like, maybe this is a coincidence. So he did it. So what he did was he switched the rats. He took the rats that was smart, that made it through the maze, that was in the good environment, and he put them in the bad environment. Then he took the rats that was in the bad environment, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze at all, and he put them in the good environment. He waited 4 months. Then he took them back out. The same rats that was good and smart, that was in the good environment, that he put in the bad environment, now they couldn't make it through the maze. The same rats that was in the bad environments, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze, he put them in a good environment. Now they making it through the maze and making it through life just fine. So he said, damn, it ain't the genetics. It ain't who these people is as individuals. It's the community. It's the environment that you put these biological entities in that changes the way they interact with their environment and with themselves. Did you know he did another 6-month experiment on the same rats that he left in the bad environment? Guess what they started doing? Killing each other. Some of the male rats started humping other male rats, homosexuality. Look, the other rats that was at the bottom that didn't have the food, they went upstairs to the other rats and started robbing them for food and water. I said, damn, this sound like your typical project. Don't this sound like the PJs? This is a real rat experiment. So it made me start questioning. I had to sit back and really rub my chin.
They turned into robbing rats?
They turned into robbing, homosexual
What else are you gonna do?
rats.
It's a survival mechanism at this point.
Now check this out though, guys. It was a selective group of female rats, and I really want y'all to look this up when y'all get home today. Watch this. It will fuck your mind up. The female rats, they started pampering themselves. They used to let their children just do what the ever. They started pampering themselves. All they was worried about.
The hood rats. Which one is it?
See, these was the hood rats.
Okay.
The hood rats, right? Exactly. So the hood rats. I'm gonna quote that. The hood rats. All they did was pamper themselves.
The hood rats. Yo, that's a term that we use for certain type of females in those type of environments in the hood. You call them hood rats. That, yo, they conducted this experiment on rats. They see that there's so many similarities within our DNA structure to actual rats that a lot of the tests when it comes to certain medicines or any of the experiments that they're trying to conduct, they use rats as the test subjects because of how similar our DNA structure is, something like that, right? And dang, they did this test on these rats and they're like, all right, we're gonna do the same thing to the black folks. We're gonna put them in this horrible environment, not created by them. The black people didn't create the hood. We're like, we're gonna create the hood. We're gonna stick them over there and watch them destroy each other. It's crazy.
The only thing that they worried about was their fur. They worried about their weight. They didn't worry about their children anymore. They weren't worried about the mama papa rat. The only thing that they focused on was their actual cells. And then the father rat started going to other different parts of the actual rat experiment cage and started like bullying on the younger children. It was crazy, man. Look, it gets so deep when you really start watching it. It even started happening with the older male rats in the community started younger males in the younger female rats. Same thing that happens in the ghetto where a young girl will get touched on by their uncle, or a young male will get touched on by their uncle or their auntie. This happens. So it's like, damn, is this rat experiment that's going on in Tyrone, rat maze experiments, the same shit that's going on with us in these communities? And then you have to ask yourself, in the projects. And who built these communities? We didn't build these communities. We ain't put the liquor stores in these communities. We ain't put dope in here. You got something called Russian AK-47s. Ain't never been to Russia. You got Japanese SKs. We ain't never been to Japan. We got grenades that come from, we got all these different things in the community of America that's outside of America when ain't never left the block.
Exactly. Ain't never left the block. I'm so glad that he said that, because I know when I was living in similar areas, I had never even left the block. When I left the block for the first time, I was 30 years old, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get on the airplane and go somewhere. I was thinking about it earlier today. That was the first time I had ever left the South. Was at 30 years old, and I went on the airplane and flew to California by myself. I broke all 3 of my first time flying rules. I didn't want to fly a long flight. I flew a long flight. Didn't want to fly a connecting flight. Flew a connecting flight, and didn't want to fly alone. I flew alone.
How was they getting there? This set up. So once I realized, like, me and my people is in a rat maze. This is a project. We are being psychologically experimented on. That's when I said, okay, this is my motivation. It's time to break the psychological chains of my people. Yep.
That's good motivation. It's real good motivation, my guy.
I am about to show you guys something creepy, but just bear with me. So this is a tree, and whenever my kids do not finish like their fruits or their vegetables, I put it around this tree. There goes an anthill right there, and an anthill right here. So I figured, you know, that ants would eat the fruit. No, they have not picked it at all. Whatever pieces you see missing, those are just like bites that my kids have already taken out of the fruit. Okay, now hold on, let me show you something else. This is an organic blackberry bush that I've been growing in this pot since last year. When I woke up this morning, there is a trail of ants making their way to eat the blackberries, but they will not eat the other fruit that I bought from the grocery store.
How is it that these ants are so smart that they know to stay away from this harmful food that clearly we aren't smart enough to do? But these ants are. They're smart enough to stay away from these harmful foods that they know can make them sick, because they probably tried it. They're like, ooh, wait, hold on. I don't feel right after eating that they keep leaving around these dang on trees. You got to think those little tiny ants are probably way more sensitive to the harmful chemicals that are being put in our food than we are. It takes a lot more consumption from us to feel the effects that those little guys were probably feeling.
We have been priced out of having kids. We have been priced out of buying homes. We have been priced out of having kids. Our kids have been priced out of adulthood because most will never be able to leave the financial umbrella of their parents.
Yep.
We've been priced out of certain jobs. I literally can't work here or I'm losing money. We've been priced out of transportation, whether it's luxury item or just the maintenance of keeping transportation.
I mean, no, I mean just regular cars. The average household, their car is what, $50,000? I mean, obviously there's other cars out on the market that are cheaper. You can still go and get you a freaking Nissan Versa or a Sentra or something in the price range between $20,000 to $30,000. But because people are starting to make more money, they feel that they can spend a bit more on a nicer vehicle. So that's what everyone is doing.
We've been priced out of education, how much you spend on a degree versus what you get back from it. Not worth it.
No.
We have been priced out of,
and depending on the type of job that you're trying to have,
our neighborhoods. And now we're being priced out of the holiday season.
Black Friday. I saw so many videos of people in Walmart, Best Buy, where else? I don't even know where else. Where they were showing that those Black Friday sales were not actual sales. But when they removed the Black Friday sale sign to see what the original price of those same products were, the price was no different. There were no Black Friday deals.
People literally stood in line for hours to have Thanksgiving dinner at Golden Corral because it was cheaper than buying food and cooking for your family.
Didn't know that.
All the reasons on why you were a productive, tax-paying, law-abiding citizen, we've been priced out of. So if there is no reward for being a good person or doing the right thing, there are going to be more people that are not going to try. We think that the youth is giving up now and they're not thriving. If we continue on this path, they're not going to give a damn. So if you're looking at all these snatch and grabs and thinking, oh, grab my pearls, just wait until you've seen the results of removing books from schools. You think we're being priced out of Black Friday, but we're actually being priced out of civility.
You saw that? This is what I was talking about, y'all. Girl at Target. Black Friday sale over here on the left. The actual price of the product when the sale isn't happening, exact same price. Exact same price. Ain't no difference. That's what I was talking about.
It's out of civility. Because those sales, those new trinkets, those new items, those wants, those upgrades were the things that people thrived for and held on to on why they got up and went to work and did the things that they did. And if all of it's being taken away, you are now pricing us out of sanity and civility. We are living in a society that is creating savages.
Karens.
Because there's no reason to do right. And the only way I can get anything is if I take it. You're either going to eat or be eaten.
That's right.
And it's starting with this holiday season in 2023. You've priced people out of holiday joy.
Yes.
This is not going to end well.
No. Shout out to my girl, yeah. That's my sister right there, y'all. She spoke nothing but facts in that video.
Watch this video with me. The Soviet Union managed to dig 7.5 miles into the Earth's surface, and they put a heat-resistant microphone into this hole. And this is the sounds that came before the microphone was burnt up. This is chilling. Watch this video until the end.
5 miles down into the Earth. The drill broke through into a cavity, and the scientists lowered some equipment to see what was down there. An extremely heat-tolerant microphone, along with other sensory equipment, were lowered into the well. The temperature was about 1,100 degrees centigrade, about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. But the real shocker was the disturbing sound that was recorded. They
Yep, hell is real. Hell is real, and it's not on Earth, but in Earth.
Why is Jesus never taken seriously in Hollywood? Like, why is he mocked almost everywhere? We got Jesus getting a lap dance on SNL. Megan Thee Stallion dressed as a demon. P. Diddy on a cross. Tupac on a cross. Madonna on a cross. Nas on a cross. The Baby on a cross. Even Lil Dicky on a cross. We got Lady Gaga in a nun outfit with an upside down cross. Katy Perry pretending to be burning with a demon behind her. And an upside down cross. Look, what I'm...
Yo, I was first confused. I was first confused by what he was saying, but actually it's starting to make sense. He says when Jesus is depicted, he's not depicted as free. He's depicted as bound by the stake, bound at the cross, right? In excruciating, agonizing pain. But whenever they depict the demon or the devil is free, is moving about, is controlling you, is luring you in. So, oh man, that's disgusting. The devil. And maybe it's like the last clip. They discovered that HE double hockey stick is actually here in Earth or on Earth
trying to say is, how did being demonic become so cool and popular? Have we lost our way that much?
This is demonic. They're not even hiding the fact that they are of the devil. This is a satanic dance, ritual. Somehow this is meant to be the entertainment standard for our youth, for the world. This is promoting the pathway to hell.
Like, a lot of us are just sitting here shrugging it off. It's no big deal. But that isn't weird to you that we have normalized it that much? Whew, we have lost our way from God. If you still believe in good and still believe in God, comment amen down below. Because at this point, I'm afraid of what we'll start normalizing next. Make sure to hit that follow button because my next story will blow your mind.
Have you heard the craziest conspiracy theory about Ellen DeGeneres that is so dark, especially after what they found in her house? As you know, Ellen has been described as an evil and devilish person to work with at The Ellen Show. Staff would describe their experience working with her as being ran by intimidation, fear, bullying, allegations that employees were being SA'd and touched by higher level executives, and Ellen knew about it.
Oh my God, that's so crazy to me. I mean, like, I'm not, oh, wait, what's this? What is this sign? I mean, you know what people say about this sign. Are you gonna throw it up freely? You must be a part of it. You must be a part of it. But no, seriously, I used to be a big fan of watching the Ellen Show. She seemed so wholesome. She seemed so kind, so sweet. Until I heard about the allegations from the staff that work for her, saying that she is evil, saying that she uses her power to get what she wants, and then the stories just come out left and right from so many different people that have experienced her true nature. It's sad to see. It's so sad to see. She come from humble beginnings, but maybe she has lost her way.
Hosting her show, Ellen was also tied to the Illuminati after repeatedly flashing the symbol. It's also interesting that her set matches the building on Epstein Island with white and blue stripes.
Yo, that's crazy.
Gold touches and palm trees.
That's wild.
She's been frequently closely tied to the lizard person conspiracy theory. Even her home staff described her as evil and would say that her true personality comes out at home, and it's worse than anything you've heard she's done at work.
Ooh, I would not work for her. I would quit. Her home staff is saying this stuff about her. Like, her true personality comes out when she comes home. I'd be like, nah, I'm not about to work for you. What? I don't care how much you paying me. What? $100K a year? Cool, I'm gone. Screw you.
Look closely at this video of Ellen at home because it could expose evil and devilish parts of her private life. If you saw in the background of that video, through the glare of the window,
I can see a freaking crown over the word evil. That's not okay.
See this painting that says evil thoughts and it's a devil's face. The artist who made that painting, who's been dead for a long time, painted a lot of Satan worshipping pieces. Not to mention this symbolism directly on her sweatshirt while she's broadcasting. Then look at another photo of Ellen sitting in her house with a painting in the background with suspicious symbols on them that are eerily similar to symbols you use in satanic worshipping rituals. The scariest one of all these is of Ellen giving her mother a haircut, and look closely at the painting behind her. I believe it says RIP on the bottom above her mother's head. Before I tell you the craziest part about all this, make sure you follow so you finally know all the craziest conspiracy theories about each of these celebrities and request who you want to see next. All of these different pieces and paintings found are from different artists, so why does Ellen always go out of her way to find this type of dark symbolism to express herself?
Right, exactly. All of those paintings were from different artists. Oh my God. She was looking for a specific style. Ooh, and what's so crazy is all them paintings look like they were scribbled up by a child. Epstein Island, look, this video is just for entertainment purposes only. Don't come after me. Leave me alone. I don't want nothing to do with y'all.
Something I find extremely interesting is that one day before his untimely death, Aaron tweeted at Ye West, "Yo, Kanye, let's talk. Man to man." On November 3rd, Ye, who was embroiled in yet another controversy, tweeted out screenshots of texts he had received from one Harley Pasternak, specifically threatening to drug Kanye, have him institutionalized, sent back to what he refers to as Zombieland forever, even bringing Ye's kids into the matter. A fitness and nutrition specialist with a clientele list brimming with A-list celebrity talent, from Will Ferrell to John Mayer and Rihanna, Robert Pattinson, Kim Kardashian, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, and on and on. For a personal trainer, the guy is majorly connected in Hollywood, even landing a cameo role in one of the Ninja Turtles movies. But Pasternak has another specialty, one that's conveniently omitted from his website.
The military to help run essentially the superhuman lab, this laboratory called the Defense and Civil Institute of Environmental Medicine. The idea that I was interested in was how drugs and food affect muscular performance And
when you say drugs, so that like performance enhancing drugs, are they?
All kinds of drugs.
Right, okay.
So working for the military, I wasn't governed by the same laws that the typical person was, so I could look at the impact of certain drugs that are not everyday things.
Harley was a former scientist at the Defense Research and Development Military Station in Canada, or DRDC, which is part of Canada's Department of National Defence Program. This shadowy branch of the Canadian military once included the Defense Research Board, a department that quite literally funded MKUltra with the CIA. If you're unaware of what MKUltra was, or that it was real, it was a top-secret military program that experimented with trauma-based mind control, sensory deprivation, torture, brainwashing, and drugs, including psychotropics and hallucinogens. And though the name of the departments have changed and MKUltra has been partially declassified, it seems as though the associated groups are not only still experimenting, but utilizing what they gathered during MKUltra. Within 1 day of the tweet exposing Pasternak's messages, 2 items were removed from his Wikipedia entry, all references to Kanye West, and the list of his former clients, which include Brittany Murphy, who along with her husband died of mysterious illnesses, most likely spurred on by some kind of strange drug-related poisonings, and Mac Miller, who also died of an overdose. Of Brittany Murphy, Pasternak said she seemed high the last time he saw her, and of Mac Miller, he said Mac would be, quote, pissed he died, end quote. The most unsettling detail about this exchange between Ye and Harley is this. On November 17, 2016, during the kickoff for the second leg of his St. Pablo tour, Ye decided to get some political thoughts off his chest.
I told y'all I didn't vote, right? But if I would have voted, I would have voted on Trump. It's a new world, Hillary Clinton. It's a new world, Barack. It's a new world, Jay-Z.
The next day, he was invited to visit his personal trainer, Harley Pasternak's house in California. Within a couple hours, Kanye was being wheeled into an ambulance, handcuffed to a gurney against his will.
Yeah, I'm actually one of his doctors. I'm just calling for my cell phone. Request if we can have some police backup, because I don't think the paramedics,
Oh my God. Oh my God. What? This is, listen, y'all, listen. This makes so much sense. Imagine you have this guy who is being hired by the government, who is like a scientist and was in the military of some sort, and he can conduct these tests, these experiments using certain drugs because he didn't have to oblige by certain rules. And now he's being hired to deal with or be the personal trainer, because he's somewhat in shape, to be the personal trainer of celebrities. And now he can do certain things with them that they would be completely unexpected of. Kanye said all that stuff at that concert. The next day, he was sent to go be with this trainer, and then he had to be walked out of there on a stretcher. Did he use his drugs to do something to Kanye? I mean, this is, I would believe this. I would believe that the government would put certain people in certain positions to control or even off celebrities, but make it seem like, they're off their rockers, they lost their minds, they're off their meds, a freak accident. Yo, Hollywood, man, I don't want no part of it.
Are you there to
That voice you hear is or was Kanye's personal doctor, Dr. Farazam, who you can hear call for not only paramedics, but also police backup to have Kanye picked up from Pasternak's house. Dr. Farazam and Harley Pasternak wanted to place Kanye in a 5150 temporary hold. 5150 is the number of the section of the Welfare and Institutions Code, which allows an adult who is experiencing a mental health crisis to be involuntarily detained for a 72-hour psychiatric hospitalization when evaluated to be a danger to others or to himself or herself, or gravely disabled. Ye was transported and admitted to Resnick Neuropsychiatric Hospital at UCLA against his will, where he continued to resist treatment. That night, the paparazzi caught up with Pasternak in his neighborhood. Ye was in that psych ward for over a week, and interestingly, when he was released, the news reports said he had been released after his voluntary admittance. After he was released, Ye's only public appearance was in the lobby of Trump Tower on December 13th, 2016, side by side with the former president after a meeting that Ye described as covering several important issues. After that, Kanye laid low for almost an entire year, his next performance not taking place until about a year later in November of 2017. After his hospitalization and subsequent visit to Trump Tower, fans and online commentators made references between Kanye and the 2017 smash hit Get Out go completely viral.
Now, sink into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
Implying that Kanye was the one in the sunken place, as though he could only make statements in support of the president-elect, against Hillary Clinton, and against JC and Beyonce if he had been hypnotized, traumatized, and brainwashed. Although in my opinion, it would seem as though whatever happened during his short visit to Pasternak's home, and the resulting week-long stay against his will in a psych ward, could have been what actually led him into the sunken place. In February of 2017, a complex article noted, Malik Youssef, one of Kanye's long-term friends, had visited West at his house and sat with him for 6 or 7 hours. According to Youssef, Kanye had major memory issues that were just beginning to clear up, that he was still healing and trying to recover, this coming 3 full months after a week-long stay at a mental institution. What could he be recovering from? Whatever happened to Ye at that LA home on November 21st, 2016, many have pointed out that Harley Pasternak seems to be the most clear-cut example of a handler to ever surface in the public eye. Is it possible that Kanye's handlers have reset and controlled him using experimental drugs that Pasternak researched during his time with the DRDC? Whatever the truth is, I believe the text from Pasternak that Ye posted give a brief look into the dark side of being a world-famous celebrity.
Wow, I had no idea what direction that theory was going to go in, but I feel like I need to share it with a few friends, because especially the ones that are huge Kanye fans, because they're going to be like, oh, that explains everything. But anyway, leave your thoughts, comments, and opinions down below, and I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Y'all be safe out here. See ya.